Libra, what is going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name is Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Libra love reading. Today we are going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. So let's get started and let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between Libra and their romantic person of interest in October 2025, please. Okay, we got two here. No problem. What's going on with you, Libra? It has been a minute. I'm finally back. What's going on with Libra here as it relates to their romantic person of interest and the connection between them? October 2025. You first. Okay. What's going on with your person, Libra? What's going on with Libra's romantic person of interest as it relates to Libra and the connection between them in October 2025, please? What do we have here? All right. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading, Knight of Cups. Knights are action takers, and cups are about love and emotions. So this is actions toward love and emotions, moving forward with romantic offers, romantic gestures, trying to move forward and advance a cup of love in some way, move forward romantically in some way. Right behind that, we got the Knight of Pentacles, which is the slowest knight in the deck. Again, it's an action taker, but this is like really, really slow, methodical forward movement. This is usually a really frustrating energy. It's usually a spot where I wanted this thing like really bad. I wanted it so bad I wanted it yesterday, but I'm getting this really slow drip, very like molasses like forward movement here, where from your point of view it might even feel like there is no movement happening, like I can't see any progress taking place. Now this can also sometimes represent a person who knows what they're supposed to do, but for some reason they're not doing it, or even a person who knows what they're not supposed to do and for some reason they're doing it any damn way. So we got some sort of idea here of moving forward romantically and it either happening incredibly slowly or moving forward romantically when I know I'm not supposed to. Not sure which that is yet. I got the Eight of Pentacles right behind that. This is Virgo energy. This is an energy of work, putting in the work, time, effort, and energy on something in order to get what I want, or at the least being willing to put that work in. So that's the gist of what it looks like we're going to be talking about, this romantic movement happening slowly and potentially wanting to work on something, or even maybe moving forward romantically when I shouldn't have, and maybe now wanting to put in work after the fact. So we'll come back to that if we need to, but this mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you both the same way. Sometimes they do this or say something like this and it makes you start to feel this way. You feel the consequences of what they're doing, or even vice versa. Sometimes it's an external thing that's happening affecting you both. Normally I get one card here, but I got two this time. I got Strength and the Seven of Pentacles. Strength is the Leo Major Arcana card. This usually represents going through a very difficult situation where you're kind of being forced to dig down deep inside yourself and tap into your internal strength in order to make it through. It would represent that you have the strength to make it through it. You're just going to kind of be forced to find it and tap into it and put it to use. Another thing this can represent is sometimes it's a person who's trying to tame this beast inside themselves. In other words, they have this urge or this desire or this impulse, and they're trying to contain that part of themselves so they don't make some kind of mistakes, like struggling against a piece of myself. But then I have Seven of Pentacles with that, which is Taurus energy. This is an energy of like a period of time going by. Like sometimes this is a period of time where I'm pausing to reflect and take stock of the situation that I'm finding myself in, and I'm trying to decide, is this ever going to grow into the Ten of Pentacles that I really want, like maximum stability and abundance and prosperity, or even combining lives together and building a life together? Is this ever going to turn into that? Is this worth me continuing to invest my time, effort, and energy into it, put the work into it? Or is this a spot where maybe it's not going to pan out the way I want to, and maybe I should cut my losses and move on? So this is that period of time where things like that are being contemplated. This can sometimes represent a period of time where seeds have already been planted on something, And it's kind of like if you plant seeds for an apple, you know, you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and get apples out of that. There's a lag time from when you plant the seed to when it fully grows, fully develops and blossoms, and you can harvest it and get something out of it. So this can represent something the seeds were planted on a while back and it hasn't been harvested yet. Maybe I have this interest in moving forward, but it's this slow snail's pace. And now I'm trying to decide, do I put the work in on this or not? This could even be a period of time where we've been going through something really difficult and struggling to make it through it and contemplating whether to continue on or not. So I'm going to clarify this and see what else I can find out. Tell me more about strength and Seven of Pentacles. Why is that here as the shared energy, please? Okay, what do we got here? Underlying strength in the Seven of Pentacles. We got the Sun. This is the other Leo major arcana card. So we got two Leo energies here already. We got a little bit of Taurus, some Capricorn, some Libra, a little bit more Taurus, some Aries, some Sagittarius, some Gemini. You could be dealing with any of those signs. Heck, you could be dealing with any sign. This is a general collective reading, so it's going to be almost impossible for me to pin down exactly who you are dealing with as an individual person, because I'm not really tapping into your specific energy as an individual person right now like I would if I was doing a personal reading with you. I'm tapping into collective energy. So I'm going to continue to call these signs out along the way as they stick out to me, just in case they mean anything to you. But this is some Leo energy here. This Sun is the happiest card in the deck. It's happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. It's really hard to get a better card than the Sun when that's what it's talking about. Now, I don't have anything necessarily that makes me think it's not talking about that. Well, maybe I do. I'll just go ahead and tell you just in case it applies to you. The Sun is the card that comes after the Moon. And when the moon's out, it's dark outside. You can't see the full path in front of you. Sometimes the moon can represent fear, worry, and anxiety from uncertainty because I can't see clearly. Sometimes the moon can represent something being hidden in the dark or a secret being kept. And if that's what it's talking about, the next step is the sun comes up and now it's not dark anymore. Now what was being hidden gets exposed, it gets illuminated, and I can see it. I don't know that that's what we're talking about. This is looking like some element of happiness underlying this struggle and this, what looks like a waiting period. Probably waiting on this cup of love to advance and contemplating whether or not it's worth continuing to wait on it. I got the Page of Swords right behind that. Pages are messengers, so this can be news, messages, and communication of some kind. It's also an energy of someone who's trying to learn something or figure something out. So this can represent like doing research on something, investigating something, digging for clues, asking questions, snooping around, like spying on somebody even. Hell, what I'm doing right now, reading your energy in a tarot reading, kind of qualifies as that Page of Swords because I'm being nosy and snooping around in what's going on between the two of you. But this looks like an element of trying to figure out what happiness is, trying to figure out what would make me happy. And I've got Five of Wands behind that, more Leo energy. Fives are conflict and wands are about desire. So this is a conflict in my desires. In other words, an internal conflict where a piece of me wants this and another piece of me wants pretty much the opposite of that. And I'm pulling myself in multiple different directions at the same time. I'm kind of torn and conflicted in terms of what is it that I actually want. Trying to figure out what would make me happy here. And behind that's the Two of Swords, which is Libra energy. This is a decision that needs to be made, only it hasn't been made yet for some reason. The lady on the card has a blindfold on, and that blindfold can represent there's something I don't see yet. There's some information that I don't have access to right now, and not having all the information is preventing me from being able to make a decision. Now, sometimes that blindfold can represent blinders that a person has on. In other words, there's something about this situation that I don't want to see, something I don't want to look at, something that I don't want to be true. So I'm kind of not looking at it on purpose. I'm avoiding it. And avoiding it can be the thing that prevents a decision from getting made. There's this idea of trying to figure something out, but then at the same time, that internal conflict of maybe not wanting to see it, not wanting to look at it. So It looks like something is getting illuminated regardless here. That could be what's going on with this difficult situation. Now, when I clarify strength in the Seven of Pentacles, I get the Two of Pentacles, Justice, and the High Priestess. The Two of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Twos are always choices of some kind. We just saw a choice that needs made that's not being made. This is a choice between these two physical things, and I cannot have both of them at the same time. So it puts you in a spot where it's like this one or that one. Do I or don't I? Should I or shouldn't I? Like going back and forth about something where I have to pick one of these two, but I'm not fully committed on which one. There's still this 1 foot in, 1 foot out energy here. The rough, choppy waters in the background represent rough, choppy emotions here, things being emotionally off balance, and some sort of a decision that needs to be made. Sometimes this can represent juggling more than one person, juggling two people. Which one do I want? In the center of all this, I have Justice, and this is your major arcana card, Libra. This is the most powerful card of balance in the deck. It's about doing the right, fair, just thing. The sword in the card is used to sever something, to cut something away that's not in balance, so balance can be restored, and then the right, fair, just thing can happen. Like what's supposed to happen can happen. This card typically shows up for me when something unfair or unjust is going on, and this is pointing out the need to correct it, or something unbalanced is going on, which I definitely see unbalanced here. I definitely see this idea of trying to figure out what would make me happy, but then being internally conflicted about that, and a decision that I haven't made or feel like I can't make. And then I even have that Seven of Pentacles again right here underneath that. So again, some period of time where there's been a conflict and there's this decision that hasn't been made. Something is definitely out of whack here, out of balance, and it probably struggling with that. Probably in terms of either moving forward and whether or not we're going to continue investing in this or not, because it's happening so slow. The final clarifier here is the High Priestess, and this is she who knows. This is your intuition. This is gut feelings, signs, synchronicities, a dream that has a message in it. It's some form of an internal knowing where you know something, you just don't have any actual way of knowing it. It's not like you saw something happen here. This is just a hunch or a feeling or an intuitive hit of some kind. This card can represent there's information that you're missing, and that's the thing about the High Priestess. She knows everything. She sits in front of the veil of consciousness, so she can see everything. She knows everything, but she doesn't always tell us everything. Sometimes there's just stuff that we're not meant to know as humans. Sometimes there's stuff we don't need to know until it's time, and that's when she clues you in through intuition here. This is looking like something unbalanced has been going on for a period of time, and I'm guessing that your intuition is screaming at you about something and telling you something. But this Two of Swords, I get that a lot when someone doesn't want to believe what their intuition is saying. And I'll be the first to tell you that 9 times out of 10, when your intuition is talking to you, it's usually going to tell you something you don't want to hear, something that you don't want to be true. And without having the facts to support it, and having some happiness here that I'm feeling, this idea of moving forward, it's quite possible that there's something that you know, but you don't want that to be the case, so you might be ignoring it. Will freely admit to you at the early stages of these readings, it's not uncommon whatsoever that I don't fully understand what the hell I'm talking about yet. This will become more clear to me as I go through your energy, because then I'll be able to see how it applies to you. I will come back to it again as I go through your person's energy, because then I'll be able to see how it applies to them. That's the shared energy. Your energy in this connection, Libra, 9 of Swords is your first and most important card. Central to your energy is the Page of Wands, and your final card is the Empress. The 9 of Swords is Gemini energy. This is fear, worry, and anxiety. This is thinking about something over and over again with all this fear and worry behind your thinking, and doing that to the point that it's probably starting to get physically stressful. I do see struggling with some difficult situation, and probably going through a period of time of struggling with that, and maybe even flip-flopping back and forth and changing your mind about what you're going to do. I'm going to clarify this fear, worry, and anxiety and see what that tells us. Why is that Nine of Swords here? Okay. Underlying that energy, we got Five of Cups. This is Scorpio energy. I'm seeing too many fives. I've got another one over here in your person's energy. Fives are conflict. This would be some sort of an emotional loss. It's usually sadness and remorse about the past. It can be regrets. It can be negative emotions of some kind. Like the person on the card has their head hung down. They're all in black. They're sad. They're mourning. And they're looking at these three cups that have been spilled. The Three of Cups can represent being together, being united and celebrating. And because they're spilled can indicate that maybe we're not together anymore. There are two upright cups in the background, though, and that represents still being able to feel the connection, even though I don't have it anymore. And at the core of what this card is really about, it's whatever it is that you focus on is going to dictate to you what emotions you experience. So here, this person's focused on the past, so they're feeling what they felt in the past. They're focused on something that they've lost, and they're feeling that loss. They're focused on something that's missing, so they're feeling that gap in their life. And they could turn around and look at these two upright cups. This can mean there's something that I can be happy about, but this kind of has more weight to it. There's three cups versus the two, so it's going to require like conscious effort to shift focus and look at the thing that I could be happy about. Now, in the very negative sense, the Three of Cups could represent that a connection was spilled, knocked over, and like went away because a third party was involved. Three cups of love in the picture, and the two cups in the background in that case would indicate another connection looming in the background. Could be fear, worry, and anxiety about is this over or not, and can we put the work in on it and fix it, because I'm not really seeing any progress in forward movement here romantically. I do have the World behind it, and this is the final card of the major arcana. In terms of zodiac signs, this would be the four fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, or Scorpio energy. This is the ending of a cycle, and at the same time, the beginning of the next cycle, starting back over at the beginning of something. And then I get Eight of Pentacles, Virgo energy, putting in the work, time, effort, and energy on something to get what I want. That's here in the background behind this really slow movement that feels like maybe nothing's happening. This is looking like we've had a loss in the connection. Something unfair has happened. There's this off-balance energy, like can we or can't we fix this? Looking like something ended, and there's still this beneath the surface idea of working on it. Maybe worry about whether or not I should work on it. Maybe you're not worried about whether or not this is actually going to pan out the way I want it to, or is this basically over? When I clarify Nine of Swords, I get the Two of Cups, the Hierophant, the Six of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles. The Two of Cups is Cancer energy. So here we are again with another two, another choice. I guess I'm getting pulled back to the High Priestess. She is the two of the major arcana. So she rules over all the twos of the four suits, all the choices here. This is a love connection between two people. It is also, like I said, a choice. So it can be a choice about the connection. It can even be a choice between more than one person, a choice between two different people. And there's some sort of fear, worry, and anxiety about the connection or the choice about the connection. Next, I have the Hierophant, which is the Taurus major arcana card. This is a card of commitment. It's about being fully committed to something bigger than yourself. In a relationship reading, this would be full commitment to the relationship. I get this card a lot for people when they're married, or when they're living together, or engaged, or they're going down that sort of a path where looking like you're fully committed to this connection here, but there is still this fear, worry, and anxiety and stress attached to that. Next is the Six of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way it used to be between the two of you. This can represent something from the past coming back up again, or something from the past happening again, or even a person from the past showing back up. Looking like we have some history in this connection here. Then I get the Four of Pentacles, Capricorn energy of holding on tightly to something and not wanting to let go of it. This is looking like we've had a problem in the relationship, and you've got some fear, worry, and anxiety and stress about what's going to happen. Can we get this back? There's a lot of history here. There's a lot of emotions involved here, a deep emotional connection, probably that I don't want to let go of. But then there's this struggle happening, this difficult situation for a period of time where something is out of balance, something probably unfair is happening. And it's looking like your intuition is trying to tell you something. I gotta say, your intuition is going to be really quiet most of the time. And when I've got this Nine of Swords with it, that is a lot of mental noise, a lot of mental chatter, way too much thinking happening to the point that it gets stressful. You can't really hear your intuition when there's that much noise going on in your mind. And in fact, I see a lot of people run into a problem where I can't tell what's really my intuition talking to me versus that fear voice in the back of my mind. Now, I also see it the other direction. I can't really tell what's the difference between my intuition versus that fantasy voice in my mind about what I want. And a lot of people will get that confused, and they'll take this fantasy about what they actually want to happen and label that as their intuition is guiding them towards something, when in reality that's just wishful thinking in that fantasy voice, and it's not their intuition at all. But this is looking like I can't tell the difference between what's my real intuition versus what am I afraid of. That might be why I'm seeing Two of Pentacles here, where I can't make up my mind on that. I can't tell the difference between these two things. Central for your energy is the Page of Wands. This is news and messages and communications about passion and desire. This is also, so this can be like lovey-dovey passion kind of messages, but this can also be just expressing interest, expressing what it is that I want. This is the minor arcana version of the Fool. Now, the Fool will just take this blind leap of faith on this brand new thing. He'll just leap right off the cliff and worry about how to grow wings on the way down. Like, doesn't have the slightest idea how this is going to work, but I'll figure it out as I go. This is a much more toned down version of that kind of an energy. This is someone who has the willingness to take the very first step down a brand new path towards something there's passion or desire for. Not necessarily willing to just leap off the cliff, though. So I'm going to clarify that. Tell me more about this Page of Wands. Why is that central for Libra's energy? Okay. Underlying that Page of Wands energy, there's the Sun, again, Leo major arcana energy. This is, like I said, the happiest card in the deck. This could indicate you have a lot of happiness tied to this person, or it's almost like, look at how our solar system is put together. The sun is in the middle and all the planets are in orbit around the sun because the sun has all the gravity. Like there's some serious pull to this connection, potentially a lot of happiness tied to it. And I don't know if that is giving you the willingness to take the first step on something or expressing what you want in terms of happiness, or if this is illumination of passionate messages going somewhere. Page of Swords, there's you trying to figure it out, though, like investigating. Now sometimes, like, this is usually referencing uncovering information. Now sometimes that is being uncovered on purpose because I'm snooping around, I'm going through paperwork, I'm rooting through your purse when you're not looking, some element going through your phone, scoping out your social media pages, asking people about you, like spying on you in some way. Sometimes this is information getting uncovered by accident. I've seen this play out to where, like, the lady is picking her husband's pants up to throw them in the washing machine, and something falls out of his pocket and she looks at it and it's a receipt for a motel room or something. So it can be uncovering information on accident, something getting illuminated. This could just be, I'm trying to figure out happiness here and what would make me happy. Sometimes this even represents a third party, like someone that knows the both of you and maybe saw something and then came and told you about it, and that's how the illumination occurred. What's behind that Page of Swords is the Six of Pentacles, Taurus energy. This is either a card of balance, like trying to balance something back out. It would be like equal give and take. Like you scratch my back, I scratch your back, we take care of each other, and it's an equal balanced connection. So far, it's not really looking like that's the case here. Now, this could be you trying to figure out how to get the happiness back, how to balance this back out. But the negative meaning to this card is it can represent the merchant here giving to two different people in the physical sense, and one of them is kind of behind his back. The reason I'm saying that piece is because when I clarify the Page of Wands, I get the Seven of Swords as the very first clarifier, Judgment, and the Nine of Swords again. So I'm using two different decks, and I've already got the Nine of Swords in both of those decks, both times in your energy. So there's a lot of anxiety here, it looks like. This Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. This is usually lying, cheating, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something that they shouldn't be trying to get away with. I do see here in the overall energy this idea of romantic forward movement, advancing a cup of love in some way. And behind it could be a person who knows what they're not supposed to do and is doing it anyway. This is not looking good here. Right beside that, what could be lying and cheating and deception is the Two of Cups, which could also be a choice between two different cups of love, two different people. Which one am I going to move forward with? Maybe someone's struggling against a piece of themselves, trying to rein that part of themselves in, and maybe that's been going on for a period of time. This is looking like at this stage, you don't actually have facts. Like normally, it's not always the case, but normally this goes in chronological order for me, where this happened already in the past, and the closer I get to the end of your energy, the more current we're getting. So it's looking like maybe at this initial stage, you just had an intuitive hit that something unfair is going on. Another thing this Two of Pentacles can represent is juggling two people, which would mean that this is happening for a period of time, that maybe you don't have the facts to support it. And it's probably one, like, I've been that spot myself before, where I've had this intuitive feeling that something bad was going on, like she's cheating on me, and I don't have any way of knowing that. It's just a feeling that I'm having. And of course, I didn't want that to be the case. So what did I do? I tried to sweep my intuition under the rug and ignore it. But usually it will pester you until you pay attention. Now I've got this, what could be passionate messages taking place and deception here. And then I get Judgment, which is the most powerful decision card in the deck. This is about passing a final verdict and judgment on something, making a final decision. In the relationship context, this is either A, we're calling this thing dead and over and there is no coming back from it, or B, this can be about resurrection. You see the angel is playing on this horn and she's raising the dead. She's calling something back to life, bringing it back from the dead. Right beside the Hierophant, commitment, being fully committed to the relationship. So I see here this Two of Pentacles. I can't have both of these two things and I have to pick one. You cannot call this dead and over with and there's no coming back, and at the same time resurrect it. And this has to be, you have to pick one or the other here. This commitment and the connection you feel, and probably the history of this connection, is probably playing a big role in why you've got all this Nine of Swords, fear, worry, anxiety, stress kind of an energy here. Thinking about it with fear and worry behind your thinking, fear and worry that maybe this is over, struggling with the difficulty of that in a period of time where you're trying to decide, is this even something I want to continue on with or not? The history, the depth of the connection, maybe something coming back up again that's happened before, or even this could even represent a person from their past that's showing back up here when you have a commitment going on. I read these in columns, but then I connect it in rows as I go through. And so far, this is the one card that has nothing to go with it. There's a void, a gap in the information beside holding on to it and not wanting to let go of it. And I don't have answers here. I don't have any more input or information here. The only thing I have to go on is fear, worry, and anxiety about something. Even the person has their eyes covered, like they don't want to see something. This is so bad in their mind that they don't want to face it. They don't want to look at it. The final card in your energy, Libra, is the Empress. This is the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant. She's always giving birth to something. In a relationship reading, she represents the birth of something new, which is very typically a new relationship getting built or getting birthed, or even one that has been labeled dead and over with, and now we're trying to rebirth the connection. I do see this idea here of moving forward romantically and not seeing the type of progress happen as fast as you want to see it, but this idea of working on it still being in the background. So let's clarify the Empress for Libra. Why is that third card in Libra's energy, please? Come here. Underlying this Empress energy, 8 of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy of work. We've already seen that here, 3 cards deep. Putting in the work, time, effort, and energy on something. Being willing to invest myself in it. But then behind that energy of at least being willing to work on it, I get the 7 of Cups, which is Scorpio energy of options and choices and confusion about these options and choices. This is kind of like an illusion type of a card. It's hard to tell which of these cups I should choose, which of these things is real. There are a lot of cups here, which means there's a lot of emotions involved. The clouds of smoke can represent clouded judgment, like emotions clouding my judgment, emotions clouding my decision making here, being confused. The clouds of smoke can sometimes represent someone blowing a smoke screen or trying to blow smoke up your ass and cloud things up for you. I get this card in combination with the High Priestess a lot. And in that case, usually what that means is you're having an intuitive hit that something's wrong. And this would be the other person knows that you don't actually have the facts. It's just a hunch. It's just a feeling, an emotion that you're having. And the clouds of smoke in that case, a lot of times will represent them trying to cloud things up for you so you can't trust your intuition. Telling you like, no, nothing like that's going on, and trying to make it so you can't see clearly. Maybe even make it so you doubt yourself here. Now, when I clarify this Empress card, I get the 6 of Wands, the 9 of Pentacles, the Magician, and the 4 of Swords. The 6 of Wands is Leo energy. This is a card of recognition. So this can be you getting recognized for something, getting the spotlight shined on you. More often than not, this would indicate you coming to some sort of a recognition yourself. Whatever it is that's being recognized, forward movement happens after that. This is usually a card of like moving forward successfully on something. But that doesn't necessarily jive with everything else I'm seeing. Like this is recognizing the birth of something new. There's the recognition tied directly to this lying, deceptive kind of an energy, cheating kind of an energy. It's in the same row with the connection. It's very strange because that energy is moving this direction, like away from your energy here. Next, to clarify the Empress, I get the 9 of Pentacles, Virgo energy. This is singles energy. It's a step backwards from the 10 of Pentacles. And like I mentioned before, the 10 of Pentacles, like I think I brought that up when I was talking about the 7 of Pentacles. Is this ever going to grow into the 10 of Pentacles that I want, where we combine our lives together? Well, this is a step backwards from that combined together life. This is a single energy, physically independent, physically by myself, physically single. Now, it's pretty often that this card doesn't actually represent someone who is single as much as it represents someone who's presenting themselves as if they're single in the physical world when they're not actually. There's some recognition tied to that single energy. There's also judgment tied to that single energy. So we've got in this row, we've got fully committed to the relationship, possibly married or living together, and then we have a judgment being passed and single. Next, we have the Magician, and this is the Mac Daddy Master Manifester of the Tarot deck. It's a person whose thoughts and actions shape the world around them to be the way their will wants it to be. 9 times out of 10, when I get this card, it's talking to me about the person whose thoughts and actions shaped the situation that I'm reading about here. Someone's thoughts, someone probably acting as if they're single when they're not, creating a situation where judgment gets passed and it makes you single, possibly fear, worry, and anxiety about what's being manifested, what's being created here. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Fear, worry, and anxiety about what they're going to actually do and what they are creating. I do have that passionate messages and sneaky deceptive behavior here. Something seems very, very wrong. And so far, it doesn't necessarily look like you actually know what's going on as much as you can feel something is off. Final card here to clarify the Empress is the Four of Swords, Libra energy. Fours are about stability, and the swords are about the mind, the thoughts. So this would be stabilizing the thoughts, stabilizing the mind, taking a pause, taking a rest, taking a break, trying to calm down and go inside myself, either to heal something or to do some thinking about something. I get this card a lot when I'm seeing 8 of Swords or 9 of Swords, and I've got the 9 of Swords in both decks for you. This is less than half of that energy. So this would be like, shh, calm down. You're thinking too much. There's way too much noise and chatter in your mind, and that makes it really hard to hear your internal guidance. Makes it really hard to listen to it. And this is usually instructions to calm down so you can hear your intuition. You're not going to get where you're trying to go by thinking it harder and harder and harder. This is about calming down so you can hear your own guidance. It's weird, this last row is a 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords. So we've got this stability type of an energy here, but in the middle of that is a void. It's a gap. And what's filling that gap, what's above the gap, is this fear, worry, anxiety, and stress. Not looking like a pleasant spot for you, Libra. I'm going to scoot this over a dab and get us some more room so we can take a look at your person's energy and find out what the heck is going on with them. First card for them is the most important. We got 5 of Pentacles. Central to their energy is the 4 of Wands, and their final card is the 10 of Wands. 5 of Pentacles is Taurus energy. So here we are with the 5 again. I do have the 5 of the major arcana out here, the Hierophant. I've seen 5 of Cups and 5 of Wands already. This is Taurus energy of abandonment. This is usually being cast aside, being left out in the cold, being discarded. This is a breakup kind of an energy. Tell me about this 5 of Pentacles. Why is that the first card for Libra's romantic person of interest in October 2025, please? You can't make this shit up. Damn. One of the things I was thinking in my head that I should have told you about the 5 of Pentacles, because I've referenced the 10 of Pentacles already with this card, and I referenced it again with like this 9 of Pentacles being a step back from the 10. I do have the Hierophant out here, which could be married, committed, living together, engaged. 10 of Pentacles would be a combined together life. And this is half of that energy, which when you're married to someone and the breakup occurs, you don't get to leave with all 10 pentacles. You only get half of that. So there's some divvying up of things here, a separation of things. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I got Queen of Pentacles here, which is typically wife type of an energy. Doesn't necessarily have to mean legally married wife, but if you're their girlfriend, like a committed girlfriend, a fiance, or even just someone that they live with, this is looking like breakup with that person, abandoning that person. Like I said, I'm getting ahead of myself because what's underlying that 5 of Pentacles is the 6 of Pentacles. Either balance, like trying to balance things back out after a breakup, or more frequently, the Merchant here giving to 2 different people in the physical sense, which is probably why I'm seeing 2 of Pentacles, this juggling type of an energy, and something unfair, unjust tied to it. It is clarifying this Strength card, which, like I said, can be a person who's trying to tame this beast inside themselves. They have this urge or this impulse or this desire, and they're trying to contain that piece of themselves and rein it in and hold it back so they don't make some sort of a mistake. Probably related to doing something they're not supposed to do romantically here. What's behind this either balance or giving to two people is this Page of Swords, which, like I said, is either they're trying to figure out how to rebalance this after a breakup has happened, or this is some uncovering of information and figuring something out about them giving to two people. I think that's it. I got the Sun back there again, which is sometimes exposure, something getting illuminated, getting the spotlight shined on it so I can see it for what it is now. The Wheel of Fortune in the background. That looks to be the pivotal moment that changed everything. This is a change in luck and fortune. If things were going great, this would be that moment where it wrapped itself around the telephone pole unexpectedly. It can also represent a repeating cycle of something happening, like getting exposed for a repeating cycle. I do have Six of Cups over here, history of something from the past happening again or coming back up again. Fear, worry, and anxiety about that, about what they're going to create. And then I've got like this breakup energy tied to what could be wife or committed girlfriend or fiance, or like this is feeling like you. But then I get death with it, which is the Scorpio Major Arcana card. This is an ending to something. It's something dying. And usually that ending has a very painful transition period following it, or a very painful transformation period following that, which would make sense with this going through a difficult situation for a period of time, maybe trying to balance something back out and make it right again. This intuition card, though, is throwing me off. This is really feeling like you're uncovering something at this stage. Final clarifier is the Five of Swords. So this is the only five in the deck that I haven't seen yet. This is Aquarius energy. Again, fives are conflict. This can be a big fight. This can be a betrayal. This can be winning at all cost kind of an attitude where I'm going to get what's important to me. I'm going to get what makes me happy. And that's the only thing that matters to me. Collateral damage is fine. If you happen to get hurt in the course of me getting what I want, that's your damn problem, because I'm getting what I want. This is at its core is a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event taking place. And it's looking like an abandonment of you, an ending here, and probably a betrayal. That's probably what this is trying to tell me here. I'm moving forward romantically, doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, and I'm aware that I'm not supposed to be doing, but I'm putting the work in on that anyway. Four of Wands is their central energy. This is Aries energy. Again, fours are stability. This is stability of the home, stability of the family, stability of the connection. In the story of manifesting, this is the stage where the thing that I want has manifested into the physical reality. It's stable in the physical reality. It's arrived, and I can celebrate its arrival. This could also just be telling me that this type of stuff took place during a time when you guys had some stability in the connection. I'm seeing fear, worry, and anxiety and something from the past happening here in the midst of a heavy-duty commitment that you probably don't want to let go of. I'm going to clarify this Four of Wands. Tell me more about that, please. Why is the Four of Wands the central energy? Underlying that energy, another Four of Cups, Cancer energy. This is about being not fully emotionally happy, not fully emotionally content with what I have right here in front of me. What I have in front of me here is Three Cups, which can represent us being together, us being united together, which would mean I'm not fully happy with that. And there's this other cup here hanging in the air, this other thing that I'm kind of distracted by that I can't quit thinking about, something that I think might lead me to my emotional happiness and fulfillment. Now, the other thing the three cups can represent is a third party is involved here, hence the three cups. And I can't quit thinking about that person, even though I'm in the midst of this stable home life, family life, stable connection with you. Yeah, now we're escalating in emotional energy from the Four of Cups to the Five of Cups. More Scorpio energy, more conflict energy. Again, this is sadness and remorse about the past, regrets, guilt, emotional loss of some kind. Notice the three cups are now spilled. This thing that I have in front of me that I'm not fully happy with, well, now I've done something to spill it out. Potentially a third party was brought in to spill this out. Could be, I still feel the connection to you, which is why I'm focused on losing it and not having it anymore. But this could just as easily be there is another connection looming in the background, which is probably why I'm seeing Nine of Swords, Two of Cups together. Fear, worry, and anxiety on your part about this other connection. Also, something I didn't point out is even though this is your energy and this is the most important card for you, it's not uncommon at all that this first card ends up being something from this person showing up in your energy because what they're doing is affecting you. In this case, this would mean that they have another connection and they're having fear, worry, and anxiety that maybe that's going to get exposed. Could also just mean that you're having fear, worry, and anxiety about the connection and the commitment and being able to hold on to it or not. Now, when I clarify Four of Wands, Three of Cups, the Hermit, Five of Pentacles. The Three of Cups is Cancer energy. Again, this has got a couple of meanings. It's either about being united and celebrating, like we're together, or even being reunited and celebrating, like getting back together. But this can just as easily represent a third party is involved because we have three cups of love in the picture here. That's three cards right here in this tiny little bit of the story that all reference three cups. A choice possibly between two people, lying, deception, sneaking around, potential cheating, birth of something new that gets recognized, maybe acting single when they're not. This is not looking good, Libra. Next, we have the Hermit. This is Virgo's major arcana card. This is a card of withdrawal, isolation. I get this card a lot when someone just ghosts you. They just like abruptly disappear and they don't say anything. I get this card a lot when someone leaves you without closure, not filling you in on what's really going on. This is supposed to be a card about deep internal reflection, deep contemplation, looking inside myself, trying to figure out what about me do I need to make adjustments to so I can move forward the right way. But this is much more feeling like you're not getting closure and I'm not really talking about whatever's going on here. It's sitting right here beside death and ending this painful transition period that's probably causing great difficulty for you, probably throwing you way out of balance, something unfair about it that your intuition is telling you, but they're probably not being forthcoming with information. They may not even be actually talking to you right now. They may have just abruptly ghosted you or left you without closure. And the final clarifier is the Five of Pentacles again. So in your energy, I've got the Nine of Swords in both decks. In their energy, I've got the Five of Pentacles in both decks. Abandonment, casting you aside, leaving you out in the cold. It's even sitting right beside the Five of Swords, which is betrayal, mental and psychological pain, and just probably abruptly stopping communication and moving on. This is seeming very like out of left field, I think. Final card for your person, Libra, is the Ten of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. This is a heavy burden that they're carrying. It's something that's weighing them down. It's holding them back. It's also a 10, and in tarot, 10s represent completion. So this is supposed to be the completion of carrying the burden. In other words, them getting to the spot where they can lay the burden down and move on without it. Looks like maybe that's what's happened here. But then again, this abandonment and the way they did it and what transpired to cause that to happen, that could be throwing them out of balance too. So see what this Ten of Wands is about, please. Notice how a bunch of the cards are staying in the deck and I'm having to go root through here and dig it out. That's usually someone not being fully forthcoming and they're trying to hold something in, trying to contain something so it doesn't get loose. Man. Underlying this burden that they're carrying is the Sun again. Leo Major Arcana, happiest card in the deck. Does that make any sense to you whatsoever, that a person is burdened by happiness? Like, that makes no sense to me. This is looking more and more like illumination of something, and I'm burdened by the light getting shined on it. Yeah, I think that's what's happening, because behind that Sun again is the Page of Swords. Someone who's trying to learn something or figure something out, or accidentally uncovered information, or saw something and told you about it. Ace of Swords, which is the sword of truth. This is looking like the truth got exposed and someone saw the truth. Whether that was you figuring it out, or someone saw it and told you about it, or you accidentally uncovered something. You uncovered something that told you what's going on. This is also the sword you would make a decision with, or the sword you would use to cut something away, cut something or someone out of your life and sever a connection. Yeah, Six of Swords right behind that. We've already got the Five of Swords out here. Betrayal, mental, psychological pain. This is the stage after that. So the Five of Swords has already happened here. There's nothing I can do to change that at this point. My only real control is in what do I do moving forward from here. And that implied choice is, do I carry the burden forward with me so it continues to weigh me down and hold me back? Or do I leave that burden behind and carry forward a lesson with me so that something like this doesn't happen again? This is a moving away from kind of an energy. It's like moving away from something painful and moving into the future. Six of Pentacles again. This does not look like I'm moving forward toward balance. This is still that reference to the juggling, or not the juggling, but the giving to two people. I do have the juggling and the unfairness of that right here with your intuition. I think at a certain point, this went from being an intuitive feeling, a hunch that you're having, an internal knowing, to actually the light getting shined on it, uncovering something, and there's the facts, like the truth of something coming out. And that is somehow underlying this heavy burden that your person is carrying. Man, this is looking like I know I'm not supposed to be moving forward romantically the way I'm doing it, but I'm putting in the work on that anyway. Now, I don't know if this is the person is now burdened because they left, burdened because they betrayed you and ended this. Or if this is them viewing you as a burden of some sort. But when I clarify that Ten of Wands, I get the Hanged Man, the Five of Wands, the King of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. So now we're going backwards emotionally at the end. This Hanged Man is progress being halted, no forward movement happening, things being stuck at a dead standstill. The problem with the Hanged Man is he's hanging upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view than he normally would. He's trying to look at things to figure out what has me stuck and what do I need to adjust so I can get unstuck. But things are outside of us. They're external to us. So this is someone who's looking externally to them for what's the problem. What is this burden, this thing that's weighing me down and holding me back? What has me stuck out here? Not looking inside themselves for what about me do I need to adjust, but what about you or this external situation do I need to adjust? A lot of times this is someone who's not seeing their role in the situation, or they're avoiding their role in the situation. A lot of times this is someone playing the blame game, and it's not my fault I brought this other lady in behind your back. It's your fault that I did that. Sure, I knew I wasn't supposed to, but I've got some justification, some rationalization for why it's not my fault. Usually blame game, helpless victim mentality. Next, I have the Five of Wands, which again is another five, another conflict. I've got 3 5s, 4 5s in their energy here. This is Leo energy, internal conflict. A piece of them wants this other person, a piece of them wants you, potentially a few more pieces of them wanting different things. And this is being very scattered and fragmented in terms of what they want and pulling themselves in multiple different directions. And they're stuck by the burden of that. There's an ending here with a painful transition period, and this is central to their entire energy, the Hermit, which is about looking inside themselves, internal reflection, deep contemplation, shining the light down in the shadows of themselves, looking for what needs adjustments to it. But I think the burden is that they're not looking at themselves. They're looking outside of themselves. It's very rare in life that a problem shows up in our external world that we didn't first create in our internal world first. And it's usually the external problem is usually a manifestation of the internal world that we have. Like if you look at someone's house where their house is a disaster and it's always messy, that's usually an outward manifestation of the mess inside their mind. And this is feeling like that here. Next, I've got the King of Swords, which is Aquarius energy. This is the chief decision-making energy of the deck. This is someone who is very emotionally detached when they make their decisions. They're not really concerned with how anyone feels or even how they feel. They're much more concerned with the truth and the facts and what can I see right in front of me? What can I verify? It's a very logical mind, rational kind of an energy. And I think I said something about rationalizing things here when I was talking about the Hangman. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Or it's not my fault, it's this other lady's fault. It's something else's fault, but not mine. And this is looking like that rationalizing kind of an energy. This can also be someone that feels emotionally distant or emotionally cold and calculated. It's sitting right beside Five of Swords, Five of Pentacles, like betrayal, abandonment, and then coming up with some logical excuse, some logical rationale for why this is happening. Next, I get the Nine of Cups, which is Pisces energy. This is a step backwards from the Ten of Cups, which is most people's goal in love and relationships, that happily ever after, that happy fairy tale ending. This is a step back from that. This is about personal happiness, personal wish fulfillment. Now, this can sometimes represent I don't need this external person to show up and make me happy because I understand my happiness comes from inside of me, not outside of me. Doesn't seem to be the case with what I'm seeing right here in the rest of this column. So I have to take it the other way, and the other way would mean my personal happiness, my personal jollies are the most important thing. Me being happy is more important to me than you being happy, which is probably why I have this winning at all costs mentality, why there's this betrayal and abandonment and not saying a damn word about it, ghosting, leaving you without closure, and somehow finding a way to rationalize the internal conflict of all of that. Then we're going backwards from the Nine of Cups to the Eight of Cups, which is more Pisces energy, but this is emotionally detaching, physically detaching and walking away. We've already seen them in this King of Swords, emotionally detached decision maker energy. This is like, okay, my personal happiness is more important, so now I'm leaving this behind. A lot of times this will represent someone who thinks the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence, and I got to go find out if it is or not. So this is about them detaching and then walking away to go down a brand new path toward their own personal happiness, looking for that ninth cup, which is already here, present in the energy, and central to their energies, that Four of Wands, the thing that I want has now appeared in front of me, and that is tied to a third cup of love. I'm not really digging how this feels. Now on your side we had this final row that didn't have a complete row. I've got these two fours, these two stable energies, but in the middle of it is a void. It's a gap, there's a hole in it, tied to all this fear, worry, anxiety, and stress. On their side, they don't have a complete row here at the bottom two rows. We've got the only thing here, there's no information in front of their own personal happiness and their own personal jollies. And like, this is really me, myself, and I kind of an energy here, and then emotionally detaching and walking away. This is looking like they probably struggled for a while to contain themselves. Like a period of time went by, probably where they already planted the seeds on something, meaning they already started some other connection. Probably why they're juggling too, probably why there's this unfair, unjust energy tied to that, and your intuition trying to tell you. And it looks like a case of where you didn't have the actual facts, probably either until they left or until just before they left, and you finding it might actually be the thing that caused a big fight and then them to leave. I'm not exactly sure how that goes, so leave me a comment down below and let me know how this applies to you.